Okay, so I did pre-watch this. This poor sap has kind of gone through the ringer a little bit on his end, and this is not so much about his video as it is something that I saw in someone else's video. I just felt it was good to kind of hash it out over the original source content. Kind of high on the dropped frames, ain't we? All right, now we'll um. Okay, well, according to this, it's still excellent. We're not really doing much yet anyway, but I kind of wanted to address privilege versus station and some of the things that I saw and heard on Asmon's channel from his chat box a little bit, because I kind of feel like people got the wrong idea a little bit, and he did try to correct it a little bit, but I wanted to try to address it in a more in-depth manner. Um, So here's the basics of the situation. This poor guy has been basically bot slaughtering on World of Warcraft and broadcasting it on YouTube, which I think is hilarious, by the way. These people have zero bearing on me, and their death threats would mean literally nothing to me at all. And that's kind of where my personal privilege comes in. Number one, they wouldn't even get to my town because 9 times out of 10, and I do mean 9 times out of 10, not 7 out of 10, not 8 out of 10, but nine. The police are going to stop them before they even get close. Okay, I live in a very protective state. You're not getting anywhere near me. Number two, even if you did, most of my neighbors, friends, and family are in on the fact that I do stuff on YouTube. Um, so you'll have to contend with them, assuming you happen to be the one unlucky bastard who manages to get through the police. That's number two. Number three, then you have to contend with my home security. Then you get to contend with my dog. Then you get to contend with me. And if you've managed to get through all of that, number one, I'm already mad at you. Okay? You've probably just put down my dog. You've probably hurt, maimed, or killed family members and friends of mine. So, by the time you get to me, you've already lost any chance at mercy that you could have potentially gotten. And that is a point of personal privilege, not racial privilege. Where's the difference? Racial privilege is a made up construct by the left that is to illustrate the differences in treatment for white people versus people of color. The word privilege itself doesn't actually apply to that situation. That situation is actually more appointed to the mistreatment of people of color by people of authority than anything else. In fact, actually, most people of color that I know personally don't actually experience that issue because they're treated fairly equally in the state that I live in. In fact, most people in the state that I do live in are treated just as poorly by the state, period. That is the state government, not to include law enforcement. Law enforcement in my state is actually very balanced and very equally, very level handed in its approach. You will not be a threat to anyone in this state, and if you are, you will be dealt with by the law enforcement officials here. And they do not care really who you are. All right, dude, go lay down. So I'm going to kind of say a thing that applies to me. And why does it relate to Asmongold's chat? Why does it relate to this video? Well, I'll explain to you why. See, when I was watching this, I was in a point where I could actually have a good, clear thought, and I was going to enter into his comments section on his YouTube channel. I decided not to because I noticed a lot of other people were saying something similar to what I was going to say. And then I had a moment of clarity, if you will, kind of an epiphany. Um, The guy who's receiving these death threats probably isn't as actively protected as I am. He doesn't have the security networks, for example, that I might have. For example, he mentions his family. I'm well protected in whatever I do. Every member of my family, and this is not a threat, this is just a reference to a matter of fact, is armed in such a way that would make Frank Castle have wet dreams for the rest of his natural life. I am not concerned with my family, and whatever I may do on here, I know will have virtually no effect on them whatsoever. And if it does, it'll be minimal at best. But that's good for me. But this guy might not have that same privilege, that same station in the world. And by the way, my version of this is not the only version that exists. I have friends and family that have the same levels of protection in the other way. They have protections from groups of people that, legally speaking, I can't even really mention because I don't have actual evidence that they have this, but there's a good chance that they do. I can put it that way. And that's behind the thing. It needs to be in the front. It's a heat thing. It'll overheat the cam and actually fry it. Now, here's where I have an issue with these bot farms making these threats, and while yes, it is it is Blizzard's fault. It is 100%. There's also a layer of personal responsibility that these bot farmers have. When you go beyond just breaking terms of service to try to make money from bot farming, and you take the extra step to domestically and criminally terroristically threaten someone, you have broken the law. You go to jail. Period. In the United States. I do not know what country Mad Skills lives in. Okay. I do not know what state he lives in. So therefore, I do not know the laws that he has to work within the boundaries of. I also don't know whether he has the financial resources to deal with the situation of hiring a lawyer to combat this in the legal sense of the word. And even if he did, um, I don't know whether he'd actually be successful or how successful these particular cases are. Now, here's what I can tell you. Even if they are making a living, even if it is their business to make this business, yes, logically, I can understand why they would make the death threats. Certainly, I get it. Except it's illegal, and they have massive penalties attached to it. And good luck bot farming on World of Warcraft from a prison cell, because you probably won't see any of the profits from it. It'll be the guy that's probably running the show while you're not around. So, here's my take. This guy, I'm going to say, probably for his situation and only his situation, probably did the right thing. 100%. If it's what he felt he had to do, then by no stretch of the imagination was it the wrong thing. If it were me, these people who send death threats, I'm just going to sit there and send them one in return that says, no, you won't, because no, you won't. You think that you will, but you won't. You won't even get within 10 feet of me. You'd be lucky to get within a mile of me. And, the odds are about 50-50 at best if you get within my state. The last person who made this threat to me was not even able to leave his house. I'll let that thought stew with you for a minute. Not that I had anything to do with it. My point is not rather that he was afraid of me or threatened by me in any stretch of the imagination. My point is that most of the people who make these threats weigh approximately 450 pounds, and that's, on a lightweight day. Um, and they're probably sitting behind a keyboard that probably is linked up to about three or four, sometimes even 30 or 40 different devices. And the worst thing they can do is send those death threats. It's literally all they can do. In fact, if they got up to go to the bathroom, it probably takes them out for the whole day as far as being winded. Just gonna throw that out there. Or, and there is an or, they don't even live in the United States. There's some Asian company or Asian dude who happens to have enough of these recycled devices that can run World of Warcraft, and he's just running a bot account for because his country sucks. The odds of him actually being able to come over here and do anything to you are virtually zero. Russian accounts are even better because, and here's why, even though the Russian mob is active 100%. Um, guess what they don't give a shit about? The second you say anything World of Warcraft, 90% of the Russian mob is going to roll their eyes at you and say, go fuck yourself. They're not going to waste their time or risk prison time on your profit because they're most likely not benefiting from you doing that. And the very, very, very like 0.01% of the time that they are, generally speaking, they're going to sit there, shrug, and say it's not worth the prison time, just make a new account. Make a new bot account, it's not that big a deal. And even if they're being serially stalked and hunted by bot hunters on World of Warcraft, that's the risk of playing the game. Okay? And they know it. They know it. Okay? They know that every time they put up a bot, there's at least a 50% chance, if not higher, someone is going to be able to identify that bot account and completely destroy it, especially in hardcore. It is what we call the risk of doing business. So, at the end of the day, how does this relate to privilege? This guy probably does not have the security that I do, that a lot of other people do. So therefore, I'm not going to go into Asmongold's or this fellow's chat section or comment section and ramble off about how he should have done something different. I'm not going to. I could. I could, because how I live and the people that I know, most of them being either military, ex military, law enforcement, or otherwise, you know, other groups of people who do not F around, so to speak. And if you do F around, they'll make you find out one way or the other. Um, that is a point of personal privilege. And it does not have anything to do with my race, by the way. The group of people that I know are more diverse than what the left claims they want for diversity. Figure that one out. Um, it's just a matter of personal privilege. It has to do with the family that I was born into, the people that I've met along the way, and my life's experience thus far. Okay? Most of the people that I know fit into one of about three categories. Okay? Friends, enemies, and family. Okay? And there is a fourth acquaintance category that I don't include in that one because they're just kind of people that I meet in the grocery store. So we're not going to count them. Okay? My friends, generally speaking, are either very, and I'm not going to be too disparaging to them because they're my friends, but I will tell the truth. To say that they were juvenile delinquents when we were kids would be an understatement. Okay? Some of them. Others, not so bad, but they have the same level of protection I do or better. My enemies fit the same two groups of people. And they either have such a personal grudge against me that if anyone were to even get close to doing what they wanted to do to me, well, it'd be bad. One way or the other. both legally and illegally. It is what it is. And my family fit in that category of those four different categories of friends and enemies as well. I have family members who literally can't stand my guts and want me to disappear, but they want to be the ones to do it and won't let anyone else do it. I also have family members who love me so much that if I were to disappear, the person who did the disappearing would themselves probably inevitably end up disappeared, most likely in the legal sense of the word. I.e., you'd probably end up in zip cuffs with someone with a federal badge on their shoulder. Um, there wouldn't be a missing persons report. You just end up in a deep dark hole in some prison, black site prison somewhere. You know, that kind of thing. Or you'd end up going through the legal process, at which point they'd probably just drag you into the deepest, darkest hole anyway. That is the point of contention and a point of privilege for me, because again, how I grew up, the family I was born into, and everyone again that I've met and made friends and enemies with along the way. This gentleman here, or I don't know if I'm misgendering him or whatever. Um, he says they have his personal information. If you have my address, that'll be about the last thing that you'll need because showing up here would be your biggest mistake. You don't want to show up at my house unannounced. As a general rule of thumb, you never want to show up where I am without me knowing that you're there. And also, before you say, well, what about grocery shopping? Blah, blah, blah. Dude, I know every person that is around my person, even the people behind me. You're not going to get one over on me. You might think that you will, but you won't. Trust me. Better creatures on this planet who are better hunters have tried. So, while yes, I do definitely understand that someone reaching their limit, um, I definitely understand this. Okay. And while it won't work on me personally. It very well could work on this fellow here. And that is why I think a lot of people in the comment section who either fit in the same category of person that I do, or don't but think that they do, or they think this whole thing's just a crocky you know what, um, I think they're wrong to make those comments in the sense that it's morally stupid. Okay? It's morally stupid because you don't know this fellow's situation and you never will. Unless you literally sit down with the camera and do an interview with the guy behind this channel, you are not going to you know, you're just not going to get what you think you're going to get. Okay? But what I will do as a sign of solidarity behind this gentleman and appreciation to his content, I'm going to do that right there. And that I think is probably the right response to make. Because here's the thing. If you've become popular enough, if you've become more well known, they can try to do things to you, they can threaten to do things to you, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the more people who know who you are, they know what you do, there's a certain sense of limited touchability that they have in that they can threaten all that they want. But the reality is, they'll never actually get to you unless you let them. And sure, you could sit there and be worried about the dark web, and depending on what country you're in, again, it could be a problem. But if you're here in the States, I'm gonna be straight. I don't think you have as much of a problem as you think you do, because you really don't. Um, and you know what? To those who made the threats to this individual, just so we're clear, go ahead, make my day. Do the stupid. Do the stupid. I dare you. It'll be about the worst thing that you could ever do for the entirety of your organization. Period. I'm going to leave it right there. I'll leave it right there. I'm not going to get too verbose with what I'm going to say because I don't need to. They know exactly what I'm saying and they know exactly why I'm saying it. They know who I am. They know my personal information. They also know why I don't care. So, go ahead. Go ahead. Show up. Do it. Or rather, I should say, try to. You won't get as close as you think you will. But again, we're going to leave it right there. I don't want to cross too many more of YouTube's community guidelines, so to speak. I will, however, follow my own personal guidelines and say, um, relating back to the chat of Asmongold, I get it. Y'all want to be, internet tough guys or whatever. Um, can I just make it a point to say that 98% of you are not as tough as you think you are? I'm not as tough as I think I am, and that's why a lot of this video has not been me touting off my own stuff, but rather the people that I know. Um, and the reason for that is that I myself, I'm actually quite weak. In fact, my 6-year-old could probably arm wrestle me into embarrassment. But I'm protected enough to where this stuff has nothing to do with me. But I hate to get on here, and this is really why I'm speaking out about it. This is what I hate. Two things. I hate to get on here and see that someone is being harassed by someone from the darker edges of the web and being threatened by people who probably don't have the balls to carry out the threat in the first place. Um, and I hate to see it happen in such a way that makes him not want to make videos on YouTube anymore. That's the part that really bugs me, really. Um, you know, I was not a subscriber of his until just now. In fact, um, if anything, the subscription that you saw me just do was largely symbolic in that you fuckers on the dark web need to back the fuck off. If you don't like the fact that people like him are a threat to your profits, get the fuck over it. Find a new way to make money. You've got a ton more ways to make money than we do in the legal realm. I know that because back in the day, I used to be one of you. I'm not going to say how, when, or why, but I will say that my involvement was very limited and I got out when I got out for a good reason. And I will say that if you think you're going to be a threat to this guy, I should point to you that the feds actually have a dossier on every single one of you that you don't know about. I'll also point out that if you see a black SUV pull up to your doorstep, or actually, probably knowing who probably is working on that given day, you'd probably be looking for a blacked out Dodge Charger. Yeah, might consider getting out yourself, actually. I'm being honest. Because they will. They'll pull up to your door. And they don't need a warrant. These are people who will not just knock on your door. They'll rattle off information and stuff about you and everyone that you've ever talked to that'll blow your mind. They won't have a badge. These people won't. And I'll tell you what. They don't need one. Okay? They're almost more illegal and illicit than you are, except they have the backing of the government. It is a three-letter agency. They're not supposed to be able to act inside the borders of this country, but they find a way. Yeah. They'll give you a little rap, tap, tap, and they'll ask you about some of your online activity. and why the FCC, the FBI, or the State Department, or any number of other law enforcement or diplomatic agency has some connection to your internet activities, and they're going to ask you a couple of questions. And when you ask them to see a warrant, they're going to walk away, and then your internet's going to get shut down. You're going to lose power to your house. And when you ask why, they're not going to tell you why. You're just going to find that every device that you have is going to be blocked out completely. You'll have to buy all new gear from scratch, and that'll be the end of you. And sure, you could reboot your bot farm on the next device. Just know that they know where your bot farm is, and they'll just link your physical address to any new IP addresses, and they'll just monitor the ins and outs of your current location. Because they can do that. They have done that. I've seen it. So, I mean, yeah, you can whine and complain all you want to. You can make all the death threats that you want, although I wouldn't advise it because it can get you deplatformed, and that's really the important thing if you're into YouTube, anything. Um, at the end of the day, we are talking about government agencies who can and will shut you down without warning, without notice, and without a warrant. They'll just do it, and they won't care. And the second you try to raise it to a judge in a courtroom, they'll raise the fact that you are a suspected domestic terrorist, and under the Patriot Act, which I am vehemently opposed to, effectively they have free reign to do whatever the hell they want to you. So, I'm going to leave it there on that topic. I think I've said enough. I think we all know where the lines in the sand are drawn. Don't go to people's houses. Don't act like a moron. Don't make threats online. And if you do, make sure it can't be friggin' traced. Um, and even if you do, make sure that it's not traced in that way. They'll just find another way to link you to it that you missed. Because, no matter how good you think you are, there's always a way to find out. And if you make yourself a big enough nuisance to the rest of us, well, there are ways that things can be dealt with. We'll leave it there. And this fellow, I'm going to say his screen name, Mad Skills with two Z's, HC, which I'm guessing stands for hardcore. Give him a sub. Go hit him with as many subscriptions as you can. Stop running your flaps on Asmongold's channel. Watch Asmongold's reaction video to this. Watch this video. And hit the sub button. Hit the like button. Give this guy your support. If you actually want to stand against this kind of crap, go do that. Go do that. Really. I mean, really. This is the guy who needs your support. It's not me. It's not Asmongold. Go to him. Go to this guy. Yeah. Do it. No, do it. Seriously. The more of us that like and subscribe these people who are standing up against the misbehavior online and are trying to do something about it, the better. I'd actually take it a step further. The more of us who are online reporting and humiliating these people at every turn, guess what? You can't get us all. When you get to a certain point of enough people doing something about this stuff, eventually the death threats fall on deaf ears, and your profitable cash for gold industry for an online video game becomes not so profitable. And I think I'm going to leave that. I think that's going to end the stream. I will be doing Path of Exile later. Anyone who wants to come watch it, go for it. If you like the content, hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to link this fellow in the description, just because I feel that this fellow needs. I think we need to come together on this one. I really do. I really do. I think it's time we put a stop to this crap. And if Blizzard won't do it, we should. 100%. Absolutely. Huh. It's not going to let me do it that way. I'm going to have to do it via going through this route. I hate doing it this way because it really deafens me. My volume settings on my Firefox when it comes to this stuff. Um, Paste and save. Um, I have to retrain my Firefox basically, but no, it is unacceptable behavior online. For starters, it should not be tolerated, and we, as the denizens of the internet entirely, should reject and stand down and force these people to stand down whenever they act up online. You can't do anything about them IRL. That's entirely on the law's end, entirely. And at the end of the day, really, we're just a bunch of talking heads online. But mostly, that's what these people are too. They're just financed in illicit fashions. They're not the same thing as us, really. But effectively, when they run their mouth, it literally means nothing. 9 times out of 10, they'll make these claims that they have your personal information and they'll offer up a little bit of it. Most of it is something that is just information that's available to the public and really doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to do it. Do you know why they're not going to do it? Because it's easier to recreate a bot account than it is to serve 10 to 15 to 20 years in prison if you get caught breaking the law in that way. And believe me, they'll get caught. 90%, 95% of the time, you don't even know that they've been caught. That's how it happens. Okay? You just randomly stop receiving death threats someday and that's it. But, you know, take it as you will. Okay? Uh the only reason that people like this are allowed to make these kind of threats is because they're usually under investigation for something a little bit bigger. And it means that they're either in a foreign country, which again means their access to you is limited at best. And number two, even if they are local, they're probably under investigation for something bigger. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Um, in fact, actually, I probably have a dossier myself somewhere with my name on it on some hot desk somewhere, and we all do. Every last one of us, good and bad. It's kind of like the naughty and nice list for Santa Claus. It exists, being the only difference. And that's not conspiracy theory, that's conspiracy fact. You can't do jack online without being seen, without being noticed. And the dark web, if you think the dark web isn't monitored, you're a moron. They just let you people do this stuff because it leads to them doing other bigger, better, oftentimes military actions in other countries. So, I mean, yeah. And I'm not talking about the FBI. The FBI is pretty much a joke. I'm talking about the CIA, DHS, and the other parts of the government that actually do their jobs and do them quite well. You know, the ones who hired the 60-year-old hackers to do the bad shit back in the day. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on. I want to get into Path of Exile 2. We've been on this for a half an hour. I'm not going to play this fellow's video on my own as a reactionary content because I actually want you to go to his channel and hit the like and subscribe button on his stuff. Um, and all this is done. Looking at his comments section, I'm guessing this guy is pretty big in World of Warcraft. I mean, at least big enough to have enough likes on YouTube anyway. Judging by, yeah, someone bring this to the bald man. Um, Judging by the reaction from the comments here, your bot farms might be effed over because of this. Really, because from the way it looks, a lot of people that play this game, I don't. All right, I'm going to straight up say it. I don't play World of Warcraft out of personal decision. I'm not too big on the art style. I loved the movie, and I have a feeling I'd like the story for it if I actually got into it. I just the art style and the way the game looks makes me want to puke. That's it. That's literally all that it is. And what if they ever updated it to look better, or could update it to look better? I doubt that they could. It'd probably make the game friggin' huge. Data wise. Then I might get into it. Also, they'd have to simplify a lot of mechanics in it for me to consider it because, like, there's a lot of one button builds for sure, but to me, the funner builds are the more complicated ones. But when you get into the more complicated builds, from what I understand of it, you end up having too many buttons to push in order to do things. And making macros can work, but certain macros you can't do. Anyway, it's a whole thing. From what I've been told, it's just a whole thing. And it's really just not worth my time. I have other things that I'm into. Um, oh, looky, YouTube is doing a thing again. Um, it's not really something I will be into. But on the end that I am tired of this kind of crap going on, and it is not just about World of Warcraft, this is just the latest example. Um, I think if the game that you play has these kind of people in it, I think that as a community as a whole, if the game developers are not going to do anything about it, then maybe it's time that you guys start doing it and shaming these people publicly. Publicly shaming them 100%. And not just one or two, YouTube accounts. All of you. Get on there. Make a YouTube account. Get a capture card if you need one. You probably don't. World of Warcraft, I think, is specifically a PC game. Do a game capture on OBS. Set up your webcam. Or don't. Don't put up a webcam. Because I'll tell you a little secret. As much as they love to make these threats, if there's more of you than there is of them, and there is, don't get the bot numbers twisted. The bots are typically speaking run by one, maybe two people, and it's just a room full of devices doing a thing, right? I guarantee you that the active player population outnumbers the owners, the actual physical people who have the bots set up, outnumbers them at a factor of about probably 100 to 1. Okay? They're not going to get all of you. They're just going to be actively farmed for hate, and they're probably just going to, and every time they make a death threat, it's another criminal charge. And if it gets big enough, let me tell you what's going to happen. If it gets so big that the State Department has to get involved, the foreign country that they are working out of will probably arrest them and put them in prison or worse for criminal charges in their own nation. Which, by the way, some countries here in the United States will put you in prison for making a threat like that, right? In other countries, they'll just kill you. Like, they'll totally save their people's taxpayer dollars and just take you out back behind the old woodshed, and that'll be the end of it. So, maybe it's time that I do get into World of Warcraft. Maybe it's time that I start bot hunting too. Hmm. Yep. See, up until now, I haven't had a reason to be a pain in someone's butt. And up until now, I've relatively kept to myself and not gotten into certain things that I've made fun of because of, well, obvious reasons. Number one, if I make fun of something, you know, if I was being one of the people that when the South Park World of Warcraft episode came out, I came out to my friends and said anyone who plays World of Warcraft most likely has the same weight problem that that person did, and we all know who I'm talking about. Um, why would I be a hypocrite, turn around and do that thing? See, here's the thing. You've kind of hit a point of ire with me, and that is I'm tired of people making death threats. Tired of hearing about it, tired of listening to it, and I'm not the only one. And I know I'm not the only one who's sick of dealing with the situation because I see it every time Asmongold brings up World of Warcraft and bots in this same sentence. It's about the same thing. Typically, it's about someone making a death threat, assuming he's not actually playing World of Warcraft. Um, it's become so ubiquitous, and Blizzard refuses to do anything about it. Activision Blizzard has become like the laziest when it comes to taking care of their own stuff. They just don't do it anymore. But you know what would be really, really, really fun? I remember this because I remember watching a YouTube video about it. You remember the island for cheaters and the punishment pit? Maybe we should bring that back for bot. Just saying. And maybe we should put it into hardcore. In fact, maybe, just maybe, we should make it into an entire realm where if you're a bot, we'll call it the Hell Realm. And instead of being able to play the game, your bot doesn't get removed, doesn't get disqualified, doesn't get anything else done to it. Your character is locked up, chained up into a wall, just like you would be in hell, and you get to watch worms eat through your character's insides, and you don't actually get to play the game. How about that? And therefore, your account is effectively dead, and you can't do anything with it. All you get to do whenever you log into that specific account is watch the worms eat your character's innards. Yep. And just to add a little bit of flair, we'll light them on fire too. Yeah, a little bit of biblical treatment on that one. I think it's necessary at this point. I think that uh, I think it's 100% necessary, and I think that anytime anyone uses your IP address, and this should be, and it is, by the way, whenever you sign into World of Warcraft, you give Blizzard access to your IP information. Even if you're using a VPN, you can tag a VPN to know where you're coming from. It's very possible. The FBI has been doing it for a long time. You're no longer safe behind VPNs, and you haven't been for probably about a year. It's called VPN tagging. It happens all the time. Also, I'm going to say that there is no VPN business that's going to stand up to the feds. If they come knocking at their door, guess what? Your information belongs to the feds. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they are. They can claim that they have the best record all that they want. The reality is that at the end of the day, if you are breaking the law actively and blatantly, and you're hiding behind a company, period, you are at the mercy of that company. Therefore, you are at the mercy of the federal government, and that is the truth. Yes, they will get you. And no, there's nothing you can do about it. That is what the internet has turned into. The internet is not this wild, wild west where you can make all the threats that you want anymore. That's not how this world works. Well, you can make all the threats that you want, but expect there to be some pretty severe consequences on the other side. Account banning, IP banning, device banning, you know, the whole nine yards. And oh, by the way, if I see you in any of the games that I play and you're botting, not only will I report you, I'll record you and post you up. And I'm not afraid to do it because you can have all the dark web money that you want. It's not going to matter to me. It's not going to matter to my family. It's not going to matter to my because you won't even get probably in the same country as me. You'll just kind of be nothing really. And that's going to be it. I don't want to drag this on for an hour. There's no reason to drag it on for an hour. But it does have to do with the difference between privilege and station. My station in this world is of a station that is in a family that, for whatever reason God decided, is very well protected. And so is the rest of my family. I have no idea why. And I intend to ask him when I meet him why he did that. But again, that's for me personally. But I can't talk about this guy's experiences in life. The guy who made this channel, who's made this video, that it's going to be his last video. I wish it wasn't. I hate to see. I hate to see. All right, it's one thing to say that you're discontinuing a type of video, right? The thing that I hate to see is that this guy isn't going to be making videos, period. And I hope that someone in my circle or Asmongold's circle who has federal access to certain utilities, I really hope you guys see this kind of stuff and really do take action because it needs to stop. It does. And YouTube, if you watch this out of some moderation thing, whenever you go to do my monetization stuff or whatever, maybe you don't watch this entirely, but if you see nothing else, I hope you watch this. I want you guys to put some pressure on the feds, or if you are the feds, I want you to get out there and do your jobs. Okay? This stuff needs to stop. The death threats thing, when they have personal information, y'all need to be looking into this stuff. When people make videos like this on YouTube, and in the description it says that they have personal information and they're making threats against your family, if you're not looking into it, you should be. You should be. 100% you should be. And if nothing else, the words that I've said in here, if they don't attract your attention like they were designed to do, um, then maybe you need to find a better job because you're obviously a bad fit. But I'll leave it there. Someone with more resources can take over from here. I just really hate to see a content creator who looks to actually be doing pretty good. I don't know how many videos he's got up. I'll take a look. He's only got 56 videos. And he's got over 7,000 or yeah, over 7,000 subs. I hate to see this guy leave. This is not okay. It's not acceptable. And yes, he should be killing bots. And you know what? We should be standing beside him as he does. Every single bot that he kills should be celebrated 100%. Yeah. What's this guy's oldest video? Let's see, we're back to a month ago. This guy's been doing stuff for 16 years, roughly, in World of Warcraft. And it wasn't much, it was just a couple of videos here or there. But, I mean, yeah. It was only in the last month that he started doing, like, bot killing. Even did a how-to. I may watch that. I might actually watch that if it's still up by the time I'm done doing this. But oh, that was loud. That was like painfully loud in my ear. Um, hang on. I will play a little bit of this particular video. If it'll, if YouTube will stop being stupid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
you fucking freaking man! Come on. Come on, please. Please. I fucking got him, dude. Fuck you, bro. It's been fucking 10 days and I fucking got you this time. Come on. Come on.
Okay. He sounds like, and I don't know, but if I had to guess based off of his accent, I can't tell whether he's from the States or not. But, yeah. He's not really killing them himself. He's just kiting an enemy over to them, basically, from what I saw anyway, if I had to guess. And, I mean, okay. If they're stupid enough to have a bot set up and someone kites an enemy to them, um, sounds like turnabout is fair play to me. That's what it sounds like. But I'm gonna leave it there. I know I've said that like a dozen fucking times already, but I do, like I said, I do have better things to do today. But I wanted to address the issue of the death threats from bot farm. Look, you bot farmers need to get a life. If you don't like the fact that your bots are getting killed, stop making bots. It's that simple. Gonna leave it there. Have a good one. If you like the content, hit the like and subscribe button. Go to this Mad Skills fella's channel. Hit the like and subscribe button for the video about his last video. I mean, to be fair, he has been kind of farming the bot killing for content for a while. I'm sure there's a lot of other things he could do, but and yeah, that's true too. That can happen. Um, you know, it's just I would like to see more stuff like this. I'd like to see more of them, more channels. Absolutely, not just Mad Skills. He's just the one who's doing it now.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh.
you know, it is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. Have a good day.